Well, so great to see y'all here. Boy, this thing sure is awkward to carry. I was just about to put it together. You see, Pastor Chris asked for some help today. He said he needs some boxes put together for a sermon. And he asked me to help him out. Now, I guess he figured out just how handy I am, you know. I don't want to brag or anything, but I did make the birdhouse in 3rd grade. Yeah, pretty hardcore. Just call me Dave the Builder. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, first thing he said was to follow the instructions very carefully on how to make a sturdy box. He said this would be a challenge, that's right, yeah. Alright, let's see. Okay, that's a lot of steps. You know what? It's just a box. I'm going to wing it. I mean, how hard can it be to put a box together, right? Okay, let's see. Obviously, this goes here. And this goes maybe here. No, here. No, definitely here. But how's it supposed to fit? I mean, don't have a drill or anything. Aha! Duct tape. Works every time. Works for everything. Plus it'll make it look all trendy and fashionable. Alright, we'll just put a little bit of duct tape, slap it on this. Down here. There we go. Alright, we're going to get this box looking nice in no time. Just a little bit more. Yeah, see? Good with my hands. I know how this stuff works. Don't need those instructions. And this goes right there. And I'll just kind of pull out right there. There we go. Alright. There's the box. See? Looks wonderful. No need to instructions. Psh. Yeah, looks great. Alright. Yep. My. Move aside. 3rd grade birdhouse. We have ourselves a new champion. No need for instructions, right? Psh.
Oh, hey David. I thought I'd come out here in a minute and just check and see how it's going. I got the other boxes ready to stack on top for the story.
Oh man, Pastor Chris is coming. I can't let him see me here.
Hey, I can't wait to see your box. Okay. Oh, well, anyway, it's time for our memory verse, guys. Let's stand up. Let's do our memory verse together. And this is a really long verse, like I was saying earlier. So let's work on this, all right? This comes to us from the book of Hebrews. Everybody say Hebrews. Hebrews. Really, really good coffee. Wait, no, that's not what we're talking. Hebrews, it's a book of the Bible. Is it in the Old Testament or New Testament? Old or new? It's actually in the New Testament, yeah. A great book of the Bible. And this verse comes to us from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Let's look at it together and read it from the screen. First of all, it says, obey your leaders. Put yourselves under their authority. They keep watch over you. They know that they are accountable to God for everything they do. Obey them so their work will be a joy. If you make their work a heavy load, it won't do you any good. It's a long one, isn't it? We're going to memorize this one together. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Will stand forever. I'm going to to preach God's Word to you this morning. And you know what? We're going to have a really cool prayer time downstairs with the adults. It's our teacher-student prayer that we do in August every single year. Pray for a blessing this new school year. All right? So after the message, we'll line up and head downstairs and make sure you obey your high five leaders as they give you direction. All right? All right, so see here. Boxes. Something. You know what? It's in a box. Oh, you know what? I do have an extra one, so this will be good. All right, cool thing. I'll just get this up here. Today's Bible story comes to us from the book of Genesis. Everybody say Genesis. The Genesis is the book of beginnings, and it starts off talking about a pretty awesome God. Pretty awesome God. Now, God is totally powerful. He's God all by himself. An eternal God that's always eternally existed. You know what? We are finite beings. You know what that means? That means we have a beginning point. All right, we're not eternal. We have a beginning point, so our little minds, we can't even really wrap around the idea of eternity. We can't comprehend it. Because we always, through life, we see beginnings and endings. It's hard for us to understand an eternal God. It's a mind boggler, all right? But God is powerful. In the midst of eternity, he spoke time into existence. He spoke creation into existence. The sun, the moon, and the stars, and everything he created with just the sound of his voice. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The mountains, the oceans, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea. He simply spoke. And it came to be. Isn't that amazing? What a powerful God that we serve. In the midst of all that creation, it wasn't quite finished yet. God decided to make human beings. Now, he spoke the world into existence. But like I've told you many times before, when he created you and I, when he created mankind, there's the first man, his name was Adam. And he got down, he fashioned and formed Adam with his hands, made him from the dirt, and breathed into him the breath of life. And God created people in the midst of this beautiful creation. It was a magnificent paradise. He looked at it and he said, "It's good." God admired his handiwork. It was good. It was perfect. So there was God, and then there was people. And then having this relationship in the garden. And you know what? It was designed for God to be connected with people. To have access to God. We had full access to God in the beginning of creation. Adam and Eve, they could walk and talk with God in the Garden of Eden. It was beautiful. A beautiful relationship they had. And you know what? God, he just said, he gave them one thing. He gave them this entire garden, all the fruit of the trees and everything for them to enjoy. He gave them responsibilities that was a joy for them. He gave them purpose. Adam was naming the animals and he had some responsibilities, but it wasn't a burden. It was fun. It was purpose, meaning. And they had this perfect relationship together. But we know the story. Satan came into the picture like a snake. And he slithered his way into the picture to come between God and people. He didn't like Adam and Eve at all. He was jealous of them. He was envious of them. But he was very smart, crafty, and cunning. So he devised a plan to divide the relationship between God and people, to separate them. In fact, Satan, he went up to Eve in Genesis, which means beginnings, the book of beginnings. Genesis 2:17 says, actually, this was God. He says, "You must not eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat of it, you will certainly die." So they just had that one rule. But the devil, he came up and he said, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" See, he was questioning the authority of God. He was questioning the character of God. He's saying, you know what? God's holding back something from you. And he told him, he says, God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you'll be like God, knowing good and evil. So Satan was sly and crafty and cunning, and he deceived Adam and Eve. See, Eve, she was deceived. She took the fruit. She saw that it was good for food, and she ate of it. She gave some to Adam, and Adam ate it. They disobeyed God. And now, Satan brought sin into the picture. And sin is something that'll always separate people from God. Always. Because God is pure, He's perfect and holy. It's not like a thing that God says, oh, it's sin. Ooh, that's gross. That grosses me out. Sin in the presence of God automatically brings wrath and judgment. God is so holy and so perfect, sin can't even be anywhere in His presence. They don't mix. You know, you see an example of oil and water. Oil and water, you put it together and it separates. It can't. It doesn't mix. God, His presence cannot mix with sin, and sin separates people from God. It was a horrible time because Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden. They had to be banished from a perfect presence with God. They broke God's one rule, and now the world was broken. It was a horrible thing. They would long for a time when one day they could be united back between God and people. That was God's original plan. He didn't want us to be separated from Him because of sin. He created us to have relationship, to be together. But sometimes we think we know better, don't we? Sometimes we see things and we think, you know what? I know we're not supposed to do that, but I can do that. Like we see a sign that says no swimming. And the sign was put there for a reason, for a purpose. No swimming or no diving, and you dive and swim anyway, and you get yourself hurt. That's what happens when you disobey the rules. Or what about mom and dad? They say, hey, you don't need to be playing out there in the street. That's a busy street. And then a car could come and strike you. See, that's the danger of disobedience. We have to live lives of obedience. We have to trust those that have authority over us in our lives. Adam and Eve, they didn't trust God. They didn't trust Him and follow His one rule. And sin separated them from God. This is what God wanted. A perfect relationship with full access. But sin separated them. We have to learn to obey. Our bottom line today says, I should trust and obey even when I think my way is better. Raise your hands if you ever felt like your way was better. Several of you guys are honest with me this morning. Maybe a teacher had a rule or mom and dad had a rule and you thought, nah, it doesn't matter. I know better. I'll do things my way. All right, put your hands down. I remember with me and my brothers, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. That's a big family. I remember one time me and my brothers, mom and dad was gone, and they had a rule, don't throw the dishes. Yeah, we had that rule, don't throw the dishes. But we also had another rule, don't throw the ball in the house. But it was so tempting. We had this living room. You know, this was back in the day when they had that really big, shaggy, fluffy carpet. You know, it was just like this amazing field of AstroTurf in our living room. Nice, long living room. We had a football. We had a real football, a pigskin. But we also had the Nerf football. And so Mom said, don't throw any ball in the house. We thought, you know what, we could throw the Nerf. It's all right. We can use this for indoors. We have like an indoor football stadium right here. Our living room. Clear out some space. But you know what else we had? Our indoor living room football stadium was fully equipped with the great lighting. Lamps. Right there on the edge of the coffee table. So it was a night game. And we're ready to go. And we played knee football, get down on our knees, wear out our corduroys. We had to put them big patches in there. And we'd run, tackle, had a great time. And on this one occasion, I said to my brother, hey, go long, go long. So, hey, I get back. He's going long. He slants left. I get excited. I launch the football. It's like a big slow motion play. And then he's up, he's running. He's watching that ball. He's watching that ball. He's watching that ball. And then we're both crying because the ball never came down in his hands. Knocked over the lamp. True story. Sin. Sin damages relationships. Because when mom and dad got home, they were excited to see us. And they got really excited when they saw that lamp broken on the floor. Oh, we tried to hide it, but we couldn't pick up all the pieces. That's the thing with sin. We think we know better, we can do things our way. We mess up, we try to fix it ourselves. Can't always hide sin. We can't always fix it ourselves. We have to have Jesus to restore all things, to make everything right again. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, Pastor Chris.
You all right, David? You know, I was getting ready to come back and look for you. I noticed I had an extra box, but how'd the box come?
It's here it is.
Oh man.
I know what you're thinking. I'm sorry. You don't have to say it. I'm a terrible person because I didn't follow the instructions. I didn't do what you told me to do.
You didn't follow instructions? Oh, so how'd that end up?
Huh?
How'd that go? No. Not too well, huh? Well, all right, I'm not going to be too mad at you. I mean, there's a time in my life when I failed to follow instructions. Yes, they write it right on the box sometimes, especially these days. You know, one time I tried to put together a box my way, and as I was walking out to the car with all my valuables, it just fell out open and all my stuff scattered all over the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it happens. But you know, I learned better. Next time I follow the directions. And now I got ninja box making skills, man.
So, wow, I'm so glad you're not mad at me, and I'm sorry I didn't follow the instructions, and I'm sorry you didn't have any boxes for your thing.
Well, you know, it was fine. I had extra boxes, but you know, I'm just glad that you were honest with me, man. Thanks for coming clean.
So you're not mad at me?
Nah, it's all right. You'll learn from this mistake, I'm sure. You probably felt horrible all the rest of the day, huh?
Nah, it's not that good of a box.
You know what? Maybe you can use it as an animal or something. Here, have fun with your box. Frame it on your wall.
Alright, yeah.
Cool deal, buddy. Well, I'll see you later.
Alright, see ya. Wow. Wow. Tell you what, I know that after the day, I am definitely going to trust and obey, even when I think my way is better. That is for sure. You know, this month, we're talking about obedience. And obedience is trusting those who lead you by doing what you are asked to do. Whether you're following instructions on a box, or you're obeying your parents at home, or even just trusting that what God says in His Bible is true. Obedience can keep us out of trouble. Or we can do things our way and have to deal with the mess afterward. You know, this really reminds me of the Bible verse for this month, you know? The writer of Hebrews says, well, let's see what the writer of Hebrews says. Obey your leaders. Put yourselves under their authority. They keep watch over you. They know they are accountable to God for everything they do. Obey them so that their work will be a joy. If you make their work a heavy load, it won't do you any good. And that's found in Hebrews 13:17 NIRV. You guys are going to learn more about this in Focus tonight, so I'll see y'all later.
All right, thanks, David. All right.